Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, February 5th. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, come up to one of these microphones, give us your name and address, and tell us about your business. Roll call, please.
Cedar.
Here.
Ellery.
Here.
Kinspotter.
Here.
Kleeman.
Here.
Koopa.
Here.
Report.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll go to consent agenda A, City Council minutes of January 15th, 2018, special and regular meeting. Recommendation approved.
Motion to approve. Support.
All right, any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have a public hearing scheduled tonight for the Ace Hardware sign variance. Before we jump into that, I'm going to have our building department, D. Boyer, you come up and give us a little synopsis of what's going on here so the public has an awareness and can intelligently converse in this situation.
Yes, Your Honor. Lori Vinkier of St. Clair Ace Hardware is requesting a variance of Section 8.32 of the sign ordinance. She is appealing this for directional signage, and as you can see, the pictures that you have, there actually are wind sails, wind flags. She's asking for 3 of them. One at the north end, one at the south end, and one on 3rd Street. Okay, just to let you know, according to ordinance, these wind sails would be classified as a banner sign. It is a non-permitted sign, other than you're allowed to have them for 2 weeks every 6 months with a permit. 3 days would be classified as a 3-day period for if you wanted to. The only other thing that we have is, okay, the recommendation that the planning department would like to make is if you approved it, you could approve it as submitted, approve the application as submitted with conditions, postpone a decision until the applicant or staff submits additional information, or deny the request. Just to let you know, the directional signage can only be 2 foot in height and 4 square feet. So as you can tell, these wouldn't be classified as directional signage. The mall really needs to come up with some sort of a multi-tenant sign, because really they do have a hardship if you're at the rear of the mall. That's my only thing that I have.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing at this time. Does anybody out in the public want to come up and say a few words, or more than a few words? Give us your name and address, please.
Chris Paul, I represent Morewater LLC, 201 North Riverside, Block C. In regards to the directional signage or the wind sails, as Dee talked about, at the rear of the plaza, it is an issue. Morewater presented the council maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, to do a similar thing. It's worked out really well for us. It's really helped drive some business into us. So we appreciated it. We knew there was conditions going along with that, and we've worked within those conditions, but it has been a benefit. So our position is we support it, definitely based on your recommendation, however days where you guys work out for individual businesses, but the business-specific signage or wind sails we think works really well. So we're in support of it.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? It's a public hearing. Feel free to come on up and say something. No? Close the public hearing. Move on to number 6. Proclamation, winner one out 2018 Bootlegger Balladeer and Poet Laureate. We are so fortunate tonight. There's a lot of talent in the room. Mr. Lockwood's here. He's going to give us a little schmooze, I guess.
Mayor, Council, it's delightful to be here. This is our, I was corrected today, 9th DDA-sponsored Winter Whiteout competition for St. Clair's Poet Laureate and Bootlegger Balladeer. This year's legend, or I should remind everyone, every year we do a legend. We check with the historical records of St. Clair, and this year's legend came from an interview that Jerry Amick did when he was Justice of the Peace with two gentlemen who were bootleggers during Prohibition. And in their stories to him, they talked about this one time. And the St. Clair River used to freeze up from time to time, and what the local bootleggers would do is they'd walk across the river at while it was daylight, and they would purchase liquor. Then they would ice skate back across the river. And as you can imagine, when you're ice skating across the river, you want to do it in the dark, and you can't take flashlights. And they would use the light from the PH&D Railroad, which ran along the riverfront, to guide them across the river. Well, this one time that the two boys did this, and the two boys were Frenchie and Blink, and those are the nicknames. Some people may actually know who they are. They got there a little early, and the train may have been a little late, and they started indulging in some adult beverages. And maybe they shouldn't have started the trip back, but they started early before the train came. And unfortunately, when the river freezes over, it doesn't freeze solid, and there are gaps in the ice. And the two boys fell into the gap, managed to, they lost most of their, or I should say, they lost all but 2 bottles of the whiskey that they had, and managed to pull themselves out of the river and to shore. And a local resident did see them, and she called the St. Clair Police Department and did report on a local radio station that she saw the abominable snowman climb out of the river. And the abominable snowman drinks Canadian whiskey when he's cold, because both the men managed to salvage a bottle each of the Canadian Club. So that is the legend that we put out to the community. And this year's winner, and he's won this several times before, is Bill Bars. And he's going to recite his poem for Frenchie Blink and the Whiskey Train. Why don't you use that mic?
Good evening. Dan did a pretty good job of summarizing the official version of the story. However, in doing some research, I came across some interesting, shocking, maybe disturbing facts and accounts of this legend that apparently were kept under wraps. It wasn't shared with the general public so as to not cause widespread panic in the area. But I chose that version as the basis for my poem called The Whiskey Train. In the winter of 22, when the river turned to ice, temptation for fast cash bootleggers would entice. And that's the way it would be since the passing of Volstead, even though an untrained rookie could find himself cold dead. Some say that they're reckless, some say that they're brave, but they're never mistaken for sane when they follow the whiskey train. Now, this is a story of Frenchie and Blink. Pure perfection, their plan, or so they would think. 4 cases Canadian whiskey they'd purchase that day and return in the black of night with a headlamp to guide the way. So as it chugged down the track, they began to skate back. Through the snow their eyes needed to strain to see the light of the whiskey train. They made their way across the river, but little did they know of the imminent danger which was lurking below. And not too far from the sandbar, where the surface gets rather thin, 2 claws punched through the ice and pulled the 2 skaters in. They screamed for their rescue, even cried for Ed Swiss, but drowned out. All their screams were in vain over the whistle of the whiskey train. They were amphibious monsters with silky seaweed for hair. Their body appeared half human, the other half polar bear. And it's fair to call them abominable, because they're so much worse than just mean. Why, they brutally devoured those boys, savagely picked their bones clean. And their meal they washed down with the whiskey they found. No remorse for the victims they slain in the light of the whiskey train. Blinky tastes like a Twinkie, joked one in a sick, twisted mood. I loved my meal, burped the other. I've always been a fan of French food, but their screaming reminded me of something I really miss. Even more so than French, my favorite meal is Swiss. So to the home of Ed Swiss for a late midnight snack. His location they sensed in their brain. Just follow the tracks of the whiskey train. A panicked Irene Smith gave Ed Swiss a call. Though articulate and sober, he couldn't believe her at all. But she said by the light of the train, she could see them as plain as day. 2 abominable snowmen, and they were both headed his way. Before she could hang up, she heard breaking glass and something that sounded like pain over the rumble of the whiskey train. Now, minutes seemed like hours till police got to the scene, but clues that may have been there were all thoroughly wiped clean. And when they questioned Ed Swiss, he didn't have too much to share. He said he was home alone and that there was no one else there. As for the new fur coats he wore in the cold, where he got them, he tried to explain. They were delivered by the whiskey train. Thank you.
Bill, I'm going to ask you, I have a proclamation I want to read. Maybe I'll throw this in here. I was fortunately there the night to judge this, and there was 12 acts total, was it 12?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, every act was really good. I know you already set the date for next year. You want to say it?
Yes, it's January 23rd.
January 23rd. I know it sounds like it's a long way off, but try to put that in your book. It's worth going down there. All right, so let me read this for Bill Bars, our 2018 Poet Laureate. Whereas the title of Poet Laureate is derived from the laurels with which the ancient Greeks crowned their most celebrated poets. Whereas in England, the position of Poet Laureate and historiographer royal was officially established by King Charles II in 1668. Whereas the United States, during his or her term, the nation's Poet Laureate seeks to raise the national consciousness to a greater appreciation of the reading and writing of poetry. In the city of St. Clair, the Winter Whiteout Committee created the Poet Laureate annual competition to celebrate the community's rich history and to showcase the talent of residents within our community. Whereas the city of St. Clair's Poet Laureate is an honorary position and carries with it the esteem and appreciation of the city of St. Clair citizens, the following an open call for submissions in which poets submitted poems for consideration, and Bill Barr's reading of his poem, The Whiskey Train, so stirred the audience that an independent panel of judges selected him as the winning candidate for 2018. Whereas the city of St. Clair has designated Bill Bars as Poet Laureate for 2018 to express our collective appreciation for his poet excellence and his significant contribution in increasing the awareness of importance of poetry in St. Clair's history and our life, I therefore, Bill Cedar, Mayor of the City of St. Clair, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Bill Bars the 2018 Poet Laureate for the City of St. Clair. Good job. I'd be remiss if I didn't say good job with the whistle, too.
I think you're going to hear more of it. The next is the competition for the Bootlegger Balladeer. As Mayor Cedar commented, we had 7 entries for our balladeers. And this year it was a new group. Pat O'Connor, most of you know her as the director of the Chamber of Commerce, put together a group and wrote their song. She told me about writing a song for about 4 months, so I think they had a lot of time and a lot of fun doing it. So Pat, why don't you and your group come up and you can introduce them to everyone.
Where do you want to stand, right here?
Right there.
Go ahead.
Well, we have one fine musician and then the rest of us. So, but we did all, over dinner and drinks, write the song. And so our lead singer is Ken Madeline. And some of you know Ken because he has played at Murphy's periodically. This is his wife, Debbie Madeline. This is Kathy Salutho. I, of course, am Pat. That's my husband back there, Don, and Kathy's husband, LC. We all together collectively travel together, and when we travel, we write poetry, but we decided to put our poetry to music this year. So, that's it.
Gotta tune up.
All right, this song is actually written in first person, meaning it was written as Frenchie is speaking the story up until the last verse. So this is Frenchie's version. Hello, my name is Frenchie. My buddy's name is Blink. The only problem we have is we're thirsty for a drink. But we're stuck in dry St. Clair. Prohibition drags on and on. We gotta figure a new way to get some booze back home. I have to put up with that after every verse. At dusk we put our skates on, heading for the Canada side. If Sheriff Swiss should catch us, he'll surely tan our hides. We bought 4 cases of whiskey just for the gals LaCroix. Good times they will be coming with Riverside full of joy. The whiskey train's a-comin', it's comin' from the west. That means it must be midnight, that's when the crossing's best. Damn that prohibition, whose idea was that? It'll wreck the human condition till our booze comes back. When I was just a young boy, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever bootleg rum. But I had a taste of whiskey, and that's what changed my life. Now here I am with Blinky, skating towards that light. With a blizzard coming quickly, we struggled on the ice. The skates were on our feet, but something wasn't right. The light from the whiskey train, it just couldn't be seen. That snow was falling heavy, causing us a blinding scene. Damn that prohibition, whose idea was that? That's just what I was thinking when I heard that thin ice crack. Blinky fell through first, and I wasn't far behind. There's bottles sinking downwards, but 2 of them we did find. We got out of that water covered in ice, head to toe. We struggled through the darkness, didn't know which way to go. Looking like abominable snowmen, a scary sight to see. Then we found old Irene's seawall and climbed it to be free. Frightened by the horror, Irene called Sheriff Swiss. She said, look for those 2 snowmen, they won't be hard to miss. And later on that same day, for frostbite we were seen. But no one ever figured out what it all did mean. The whiskey train rides no more, but that tale keeps getting told of those two men bringing whiskey across the river cold. And sometimes people still see the St. Clair Sasquatch men stumbling across the icy river with whiskey in their hands. Damn that prohibition, whose idea was that? It'll wreck the human condition till our booze comes back.
You girls, it's a dry city in here in this part. Well done. Stay right there, please. I have a proclamation I'd like to read for the group here. Kathy, Debbie, Ken, and Pat. Whereas ballad derives its name from the medieval French dance songs or ballerines, and whereas ballads are narratives in nature with a self-contained story often concise and rely on imagery rather than description, which can be tragic, historical, romantic, or comic, and whereas balladeers are the singers of ballads, and whereas in the city of St. Clair, the Winter Whiteout Committee created the Bootleg Balladeer Annual Competition to celebrate the community's rich history and to showcase the talents of residents within our community. Whereas the City of St. Clair Bootleggers Balladeer is an honorary position and carries with it the esteem and appreciation of the City of St. Clair citizens, the following is an open call for submissions in which balladeers submitted ballads for consideration and live performances commenced, including the singing of ballad The Whiskey Train by Kathy Slufo, Debbie and Ken Madeline, and Pat O'Connor, which so captivated the audience that an independent panel of judges selected them as the winning candidates for 2018. Whereas the City of St. Clair wishes to express our collective appreciation for their excellent ballad and their significant contribution in increasing the awareness of importance of music in St. Clair's history, therefore, I, Bill Cedar, Mayor of the City of St. Clair, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Kathy Salufo, Debbie and Ken Madeline, and Pat O'Connor the 2018 Bootlegger Balladeers for the City of St. Clair. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Mayor, Council, I wanted to just say thank you for your support in this endeavor.
Thank you, Dan. That's a great event, and you could tell it was a packed house that night. You could hardly move in the joint, but it really went well, and congratulations to all the people that were involved in that. All right, we will go to number 7. Mr. Booth's going to sing his report to us.
Nothing like that. I'm an accountant.
Oh,
A couple items this evening. First, I wanted to just follow up and let council know that the annual fiscal audit is nearly wrapped up, probably another week. They are no longer here, so it's primarily just back and forth via email and phone calls. Second item, I wanted to let you know that part of it, this item will tie in with our budgeting process, but plans are being developed, fixed asset management plans are being developed, I should say, for the water plant and for the wastewater plant. And that's actually for the plant and the system. Working with Anderson, Eckstein, Westrick on the water plant, along with water plant personnel. And then on the sewer plant and sewer system, Environmental Consulting Technologies is working with us. And again, staff there is supporting those efforts. So what our governor has done is with many of the municipal assets, what they're doing is they're forcing some of the communities to create an asset management plan. So you say, hey, I've got certain pumps, I've got motors and things like that that need to be replaced every so many years. Is your system, your financial system set up so when you need to replace those items, you have the funds there to do it? So I will follow up with more later as the plans put in place. But just want to make sure you're aware of the changes. That's all I have, Your Honor.
all right. Any questions or anything from Mr. Booth? All right, then let's go to Mr. Downey.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
All right, anything from Mr. Downey? C is city departments. Anybody have anything? D is authorities, boards, committees, commissions, council reps. Yes, sir.
I was approached during our brief meeting, our recess, by Bill Bill Westrick and Mr. Shinsky about the snow shoveling and how long it's supposed to be after the snow. There's several places in the third ward that didn't get shoveled yet. They want to know when it's going to get done.
City property or residents or both, or?
Residents.
Residents.
Too bad Mr. Hilliard. Dee, do you know?
That code enforcement.
No, I know. Thought if anyone knew, you'd have the exact.
I think it's 24 hours.
I think it's 24 hours.
But there again, the city, depending, sometimes they don't get the sidewalk downtown done on city park on time either. So, I mean, depending when the snow starts. Can they hear him?
Do you want to come up on the mic and say that, B, or? We'd appreciate it if you did.
Well, some of them haven't been shoveled all year. I mean, this ain't just the first time it snowed.
No, I believe it's 24 hours after the event. But that being said, it all depending what time of the day it stops, and the roads would be the city's main objective. And when you get a bad storm, sometimes they can't get at them quite on schedule, but I know what Bill's saying. A lot of people don't do them at all, but, that falls under code enforcement.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, D.
Your Honor, they mentioned 4 properties that never do, so.
Can you get that list to Mr. Booth, and we'll pass
That's
it along to Dave
exactly what
Shorkey,
I'll
our
do.
code guy. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. We have no unfinished business. We'll go to number 9. Okay, number 9A, excuse me, approved variance request, section 8.32, temporary signs we have before us. Request by Ace Hardware for a temporary sign to wind sales. Is that 201 North Riverside, Block D. Variance for additional directional signage. They want to display 3 flag wind sale signs, 2 on M29 and 1 on 3rd Street.
I'd like to make a motion to table this.
I'll second.
All right, the motion's made and supported to table. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
McCartney?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll table that. B is application for haul route permit.
I'll take that, Your Honor. I asked for council's approval to reapply for a road haul permit and letter of credit for St. Clair Highway and Bree Road. I do plan to add this to our list of open projects. I know that we've spoken about repairs to 3rd between Brown and Vine, Henry, Thornapple, west of 9th, and I believe it's 11th or 10th, the first block in our last meeting.
11th.
11th?
11th.
Okay. And I do have some additional information that I received today that I've passed on to legal counsel to look at, so once I have that figured out, I'll come back to council with it.
I'd make a motion to approve the whole permit as presented.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? C, approved purchase of 2018 utility police interceptor. Mr. Raker. Chief.
Yes.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I believe it's in your packets. I'm requesting a 2018 police interceptor. It's a Ford Explorer for the purchase price of $27,470 from Signature Ford in Owasso.
This is budgeted for?
Yes, you'll see
Yes.
that this item and the one that follows, I believe, is just under 35,000. The budget, in the budget for the current fiscal year, we have 38,500. So we do have a little wiggle room there.
This is replacing the 2010 with the 107, almost 108,000, correct?
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll support.
All right, the motion's made, supported. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Ellery?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. D, purchase emergency equipment build-out for 2018 utility police interceptor.
I have to make that Ford Explorer a police car, so that's what this is. It's a
Motion to approve.
Support. All right, motion made, support. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Koopa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chief. You might as well stay right there, okay?
Thank you, gentlemen. That was easy. Can I put another, can we make it two?
No.
That is not in the
You caught us after we were entertained. You had us in a good mood. E, special event permit, Special Olympics polar plunge. Chief?
We take these one at a time. I got a request for the polar plunge. All their permits and everything are in order. I recommend that you approve it.
Motion to approve. Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? F, Salmon Stakes Fishing Tournament.
Same, I received a request for that for April 28th, and all the paperwork is in, and I recommend that you approve that one.
Motion to approve. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? G, special event permit, American Legion Memorial Day Parade and Celebration.
Same with that one. I got everything that I need for that, and it's the same route as the last several years.
Make a motion, we approve.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve request for Voyagers temporary outdoor service permit.
Table.
I get a request for their annual outdoor thing that they do for the boat races, and all their paperwork's in order, so.
Make a motion to approve.
Support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Your Honor, I have to abstain.
Opposed? Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Very good.
10, claims and accounts, January 19, 26, and February 2.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Go to number 11, public comment. Anybody have anything they want to talk about tonight?
Supposed to appoint somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss one?
You have an appointment to the Recreation Commission? It's not on the business, but it was in the packet.
Can you add that?
Yes, can we add that?
Sure. Make a motion to it.
I'll make a motion to add that item.
I'll support.
All right, so we're going to go, oh, I'm sorry. Motion's been made and supported to add to the agenda the appointments to the boards and commissions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so under I, appointments of residents to 2018 boards, I have one. Recreation Commission, Douglas Vernier for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2020.
I'll make the motion to approve the
Support.
appointment.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Annette. Okay. We will go to number 12. Did we do public comment? No. I'm sorry. 11. Anybody have any public comment tonight? Okay. Then we will go to number 12. I do have one thing. Every so often you run across incredible people. And Frank Moore was one of those people. A true gentleman with just a heart of gold, patient man, humble man. He served on on the Rotary, the St. Clair Foundation, the Community Foundation, and numerous other foundations. The library board, very instrumental in that addition down there. He was our first president of the DDA? Chairperson of the DDA, thank you. So he passed away this week, and you know, our thoughts and prayers to his family, and just a wonderful man that he was. Keep his family in your prayers. Okay. Anybody else?
I do, Your Honor. I'd like to, again, I've said it before, when we've had this cold weather and a lot of snow and icy conditions, the DPW have stayed on top of water breaks and snow removal and de-icing. And it's kind of nice to see that when I get up in the morning to go to work at 4:30, that most of our roads are done and safe to travel. So I know there's one guy out here from DPW that you don't hear it enough, but I thank you. Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yep, good job. Anybody else?
I just got one thing. Knights of Columbus are having their annual smelt dinner. This year it's on Valentine's Day, Wednesday, February 14th, from 3 to 8, $12. So take your Valentine date for a nice little smelt dinner.
Nothing like romance and smelt.
Those two always go together.
Mike Laporte, I think you have something down there.
Yeah, well, I got three events. February 8th, 9th, and 10th, the St. Clair High School theater troupe is doing Beauty and the Beast at the PAC. February 12th, the rec department's doing their daddy-daughter dance at Pine Shores Golf Course, 6:30. Don't have to announce Valentine's Day, and February 18th is the polar plunge that we just approved, and that'll be at the Voyager in the harbor.
Oh, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? All right, I'm going to go to number 13, ask for a motion to go into closed session to confer with legal counsel for the purpose of discussing confidential attorney-client communications concerning legal opinions from counsel.
I make the motion, Your Honor.
Support.
Call the roll, please.
Lehman,
Yes.
Pupa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney.
Yes.
Ellery,
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes.
oh, Kinsler,
But I don't count. Okay, yes.
carried, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to go into closed session. You're welcome to wait around here. I don't think we're going to be we won't be taking any action when we come out, but you are more than welcome to stay. If you leave, please be careful out there.